And somebody actually, nice shirt, man. Hey, what's up, reefers? I hope everybody is staying healthy and staying active in this coronavirus pandemic. Me and my family is pretty blessed because I'm in the web design and mobile design field, so my work is pretty much all telework. I am okay so far. For those of you who may be affected, hang in there, stay strong. This too shall pass. If you need help with anything, leave a comment, send me a DM on Instagram, let me know. If it's within my power, happy to help out. In today's video, I'm going to share a little bit more about my favorite fish, specifically clownfish. All right, let me take these off. Recently, most of my videos has been focusing on the 135-gallon tank build as well as some tank updates. And I have not really talked too much about the actual inhabitants of the tanks. I actually have quite a few updates regarding the actual inhabitants, but I'm waiting for the full story to develop first before I cut them all together and package them into one story. Today, I want to tell you about my clownfish. Specifically, Nemo and DJMM in the 10-gallon budget nano tank, and where are they now?
Flashback.
Alright guys, so it has been almost a week or so. The frog spawn, even though they kind of peak out a little bit more, did not really noticeably improve. In fact, some of them actually looks a little worse. So I was really seriously scratching my head until I read you guys' comment, specifically Redneck Reefer from 4 hours ago. Have you noticed if the clownfish has been trying to host in the frog spawn? Maybe they're trying to host and upsetting the frog spawn. Redneck Reefer, you sir is a genius. Because the common thread between the 10-gallon tank as well as the mangrove tank downstairs is that I do have frog spawns in both tanks, and I do have clownfish who are actively trying to get into these frog spawns right here. I'm not sure if you noticed it, but they have been diving in and out of the tentacles of the frog spawn, and I feel like maybe that is actually irritating the heck out of the coral. I understand that nano really enjoys it, but frog spawn does not really naturally host clownfish, at least I don't think so. So there's one way to really easily test this out. And at the moment, the 45-gallon tank downstairs is empty. So what I could do is actually, I can try to catch a clownfish and then put them in the 45 and see if the frog spawn improve with the clownfish being gone. Where's my other clownfish? The other clownfish is like all the way back there. I don't know what it's doing back there. It was like diving in and out of frog spawn a little bit earlier as well. Hey, sorry to cut in a quick tangent. I know some of you guys have been waiting for the Icp Test Result from the 10-gallon budget nano tank, especially since the arm from the Aqua Knight seems to be losing color. Like the bottom portion is silver versus all black. So I was worried that I was leaching something into the water and did a Icp test maybe like 4 weeks ago now. So the test result came back about 2 weeks ago, and surprisingly, there is no metal in the water. So what seems like a chemical reaction on the arm itself, not releasing anything into the water, at least not something that Icp could test for. Surprisingly, the water in the 10-gallon is actually better than the 45-gallon tank when it was up and running as prime time. So I'm not sure if you guys can actually see this. This is the ATI's Icp Test Result. As you can see, it's 90 percentile. Jump right to the recommendation for a quick overview of what needs to be done. Salinity is slightly low, sitting at 33.77. KH is 7. And the recommendation is, let's see, the calcium is slightly low. The calcium is sitting at 406 versus we should be aiming for about like 460. Potassium is slightly low as well. Potassium is sitting at roughly 393, where we should be aiming for 450, but I never dose for potassium. So this kind of elements, I usually just kind of rely on the water change and whatever comes with the salt. Iodine is also a little bit low, actually really low. We're aiming for 62, but I actually have 16. So I need to make up for it by dosing, which I'm really nervous about. I really don't like to dose iodine because I don't have a test kit for iodine, and it is something that will destroy your tank if you overdose. And there's a couple other things that's a little bit low. These are the minor trace elements. So basically, I got this Icp result before I started moving in clownfish because I want to make sure the water is good. And once I see this, I was like, okay, water is good, so let's go ahead and see what else it could be. And that's when I start seeing comments about the clowns possibly irritating the frog spawn. I was like, all right, well, the natural next step is to test it out, see if it's the clownfish that's bothering it. If not, maybe it's something else in the water that is not being tested by Icp test. If it's not the clownfish, then maybe it is something else, which I'm honestly scratching my head. Water chemistry is good. I got some carbon running in case there's some issue with the zoas. I do water change every week. I do fresh carbon every 2 to 3 weeks. So I'm hoping that will get any possible polytoxin in control. Beyond that, honestly, I'm just kind of like scratching my head. I do have house cleaners that come through every 3 weeks or so. Maybe they're using some products around the tank. I've asked them not to, but I'm not sure. But seriously, I really don't know what else to do. So I'm hoping that the clowns could be it, but we'll see. It's not a quick fix. It'll take maybe like a month or two for the corals to really bounce back from anything like this. So we will see. All right, back to our regular programming.
The next morning.
Morning, guys. Nice hair, Wookie. Thank you. So today, just as planned yesterday, let's go ahead and get these two little clowns out of this tank, and we'll see if they're the one that's abrogating the frog spawn. Oh man, yeah, it's gonna be tricky. Got him. There's DJMM. Oh, Limo is visiting. Let's do this. Let's see if we can use DJMM to lure. Got him too. As you can see, I caught DJMM first, but then Nemo came up to investigate and see what's going on. I guess he's like, oh no, where are you going? Go. There you go. All right, fellas. And there they are. Look at those chubby little guy. And you see that some of their bodies really got like some black spots. Some people are telling me that those are from coral sting. Like if they go into the corals that they're not familiar with, they'll get stung, and that's how they develop those black spots. I'm not sure if it's true or not. If you do, please let me know. I'm kind of curious as well, because especially Nemo has been developing all these black spots on his body. All right, so these clowns have been with me for quite a while now. I think Nemo may almost be, what, is it 9 months or has it been a year already? Almost since early days of the budget nano tank. DJMM a little bit later, maybe 3-4 months later. DJMM is called DJMM because Emily actually picked him out. They're both him at the moment. And so they have like special sentimental value. To test this, I want to put them in a tank that does not have any frog spawn. And obviously I would not put them in the mangrove tank because there's a pair of clowns in there already, and would not put them in the 135 gallon tank because it's cycling right now, it's not ready. So guess where these guys are going? Yup, you didn't think you'd see this tank again, did you? Check this out, guys. This is the 45 gallon tank, still up and running. But most of the corals is out, except for the Christmas tree worm rocks, some GSP, and some Monty that kind of grew back, and also that big chunk of like leather that I just don't have any place for them to go. But this tank will be coming down soon. Once a 135 is finished cycle or almost done cycling, I'm gonna move all the live rocks into the big tank downstairs. Both tanks are kept at really similar temperature. I think they're both either 79 or 80 degrees. But I'm just gonna add a little bit of tank water, and every like 5 or 10 minutes or so I'll add a little bit more water in there to mix it up a little. I don't want to take too long though, because the water temperature is gonna drop and I don't want that. And we're gonna make sure put some underwater glues on there as cover, just in case the clowns decided to try and jump.
Moments later.
Alright guys, so it has been about 25 minutes to half an hour, and we're gonna start releasing DJMM and Nemo. There you go. Perfect. Yeah, they're not gasping for air or anything like that. Trying to get situated. And of course, let's put the mash top back up ASAP, because new fish has a tendency to jump, although they're tiny clowns, so I doubt they'll go anywhere. But I do also have the silver belly wrasse, who's a known jumper. Just want to make sure the wrasse is not bothering them, which I wasn't expecting it to, but just in case. All right, they look happy. There's no anemone here for them to move into, but at least there's also no frog spawn for them to bother as well. So we're gonna check up on them a little bit later today, and we'll see how the frog spawn does without the clownfish constantly pestering it. So let's see if that's it. Let's see if that's what's causing the frog spawn to really not extend. Guys, look at this. It's just been a couple hours, but these guys are completely at home already. Like, I'm just kind of exploring the tank, enjoying. This tank is what, 4 times the size of the original 110 gallons, 45. So they have a nice little temporary Airbnb for a couple weeks. Enjoy, fellas.
1 week later.
All right, guys, so we're doing social distancing, and Daniel And somebody actually, nice shirt, man. Alright guys, so here is Mighty Nano Tank's Storm Clown. A little backstory. Mighty Nano Tank moved to a different state because of work earlier this year. And while he's getting ready to set up a new tank at his new place, he left a lot of corals and fish with Jim as well as Daniel. Recently, Daniel needs to take down his tank that was housing Ben's clownfish temporarily. And at the moment, Jim is not able to take the clown in. So as a result, this little fella is gonna stay with the pair of baby clowns in the 45, at least for 2 or 3 weeks or so. So he has been properly acclimated. Now it's time to release the little kid, well, teenager, I guess. And I'm comfortable doing this because I don't think any of the clowns large enough to be a female yet or get territorial. So I think they'll play nice together. We will see. And there he is, greeting each other like, hey, new friends. Oh man, that clown's beautiful, isn't it? I've always wanted a storm clown, either black storm or mocha storm. And there it is, at least for a couple weeks. I'll get to enjoy having him as a company. Oh, they are getting along nice. Look at that. First thing first, let's put the cover back on.
4 to 6 more days later.
Alright guys, so it has been a few days. Let's take a look and see how they have settled in. All the clowns are back there and then they see me and they come towards me, especially my baby clowns. I have developed a bond with them for sure. Ben Storm, still a little shy, but I think we're working on it. Silver Belly Ross, also standoffish as expected. But let's go ahead and feed them, shall we? We'll start with a little bit of these Reef Frenzy pellets. It's interesting because like Ben Storm Clown, he goes for the pellets, but he does not eat flake for some reason. But it was like a totally different story when he was staying over at Daniel's. Daniel mentioned that he also feed them reef flakes and he has no problem taking them, so it's kind of interesting. And next we'll hook them up with some Ocean Nutrition reef flakes. Look at the wrasse and the baby clown's going to town. And let's see if the storm clown takes them. Oh, there we go. Yes, yes, finally. Sometimes when I get clownfish, it takes them almost a week to start eating. And I sometimes get DMs on Instagram as well about like clownfish not eating, but they're tough fish, so they're okay for a couple days without eating. I mean, of course, if you have the capacity to get some like live brine shrimp to get some feeding response or get something in the stomach, even though it's not nutritious at all, definitely do that. But don't panic. Eventually they will eat when they're hungry enough. But with Ben's fish, I mean, he has been eating pellets since day one, ever since he got here, and it's been almost a week now. Actually, I think it's almost exactly a week. So I'm glad to see him finally turning onto flake food. Let's do a little bit more. And this is the different food that I kind of rotate through for my tank, because I like to give them a kind of like different diets. Even though they can survive on just one type totally fine, but I feel like life is just a little bit more interesting, right? With varieties. Look, there's my Nacerius snails. There's the big one, Samson. That's Tonga, I believe. This one I'm not sure what type this is. And let's see what else we got. We got some hermit crabs here. Where's my huge sea urchin? It's just interesting looking at this tank now, like see what survive and what what thrive. And these are algae, by the way, that's growing on the tank right here. The macroalgae is still going, but not strong. Oh, here's sea urchin. Here's the tuxedo sea urchin that was the size of like a nickel, if not a dime. Now it's like golf ball size now. It's been eating well. Probably keeping all the algae in check as well. Thank you, sir. So this is a red tuxedo urchin. I have another one in the sump. That's the regular one. That was small as well. I'm curious how large it is now. Wow, look at those. So that's a magician. Not sure if it's showing through the camera, but size-wise a lot more. Size-wise smaller, but then color is really vibrant, really intense. That's interesting. Same thing with the red people eater that my Reef Sensei Telegram gave me. It seems to have developed a bright orange skirt versus just like a maroon color overall. Man, but the magician, they really pop. Same thing with the Rasta. Like the polyp is smaller, but the color is so much more intense. Look at these. Whoa, Samson climbing glass? He must be really hungry. Green Monty is pretty much, well, no, not a goner, just a front part. I think the front part was stung by the rosewood anemone, but I'm surprised it has not recovered yet. But look at the red Monty and the GSP patch growing at the top, and right there as well. These are all new growth. Like I broke, it used to be like a hole right there. I broke the whole piece off the magnets with frag. What else I got back there? Oh, we got some green pally. Where did that come from? I don't remember having that. That's interesting. The jack-o'-lantern really took off, huh? No competitor. And I got some Rasta there. Where did that come from? Christmas tree worm rock is doing really well. The coral has actually started taking over the rock, which is great. I was contemplating selling this. As I was getting ready to sell this, Emily stepped in and be like, "Hey, you selling this? I really like this coral or rock." And that's when I had to put a break on it, because like she never really said that she liked anything, when it comes to tank, maybe besides DJMM. So this is one of the first coral actually that she mentioned. So I was like, all right, well, guess we got to keep this guy. Dude, this tank is doing well. This tank is doing well. Seam is holding steady as well. I don't think it has really grown. It looks scary, but it is holding steady. The Band-Aid is doing its job. Good job, Minion Band-Aid. Just kidding. Some of you guys joked about the baking soda and the super glue hack, but dude, this actually works really well. And of course, we also got the Aquarium Monster underwater glue on the inside as well. That's a German product I've never heard of before, but it's underwater glue. It cures underwater, and obviously between the two of them, it's working. Well, hindsight is always 20/20, right? If I've known that this is gonna hold, I'll just keep all the corals, because 150 is almost ready for the rock and corals to transfer down. But again, once all the corals leave this tank, I just feel so much better. Like even if there's a big leak, I'm ready to deal with it, especially since I've been working from home. I can immediately transfer all the things to other tanks and just take this tank down, no problem. So the corals and anemone is definitely the huge stress. I'm gonna start scrolling some of these like smaller pieces of live rock into the 135 and probably pop down one of the corals as a tester to see if the water's good enough. Seems all the fish are doing well here. Same thing for all the inverse guys right here. So today I'm gonna start moving some rocks to the 135. Probably bring a hardy piece of coral, either gorgonians or leather, down there as a tester to see how the tank is doing. Exciting time ahead. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like so I know that you like this kind of content, and leave a comment. And I still need to cut the video together of all the people that came by to pick up corals from this tank, but I'm waiting for this tank to get shut down before I cut everything together. That's gonna be a crazy video. And next week we're gonna talk about the 135 gallon again, so if you don't wanna miss it, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you know when I make the update next Sunday at 12:30 p.m. sharp. Well, damn, you just know when I'm gonna make the update. So subscribe anyways. I'll see you next Sunday at 12:30 p.m. sharp. Bye. pH level holding steady at 5.93 as good. Temperature is also steady. I think water, yep, water is down. I'm gonna bring you guys over there, but check this out.